we're going to talk about crazy Ed Miliband. It looks like his days may be numbered. Even crazy Keir Starmer is going to have to get rid of this guy fairly soon, otherwise Labour will be in even bigger trouble than they already are. I think he knows it. Tony Blair clearly knows it, and many other of the more sensible cabinet members know it as well, that this madman, this demented little man, Ed Miliband, has to go. But yesterday he was in Parliament as Net Zero Secretary in the House of Commons, responding to questions, and here he is responding to Lee Anderson's question about solar panels. Lee Anderson, of course, being from Reform UK. Reform UK, the only party in this country that has a sensible net zero policy, and that is to get rid of all net zero policies. Let's remind ourselves about what happened in the Commons yesterday.
Look, what I would say to him is this, and this is where, you know, they've made their decision. I'm not sure what their position is, which is cheap, clean, homegrown power is the answer for Britain because it gives us energy security, frees us from the petrostates and dictators. We're in favour of it. They're against it. Goodness knows where they are.
Well, that was in response to a Lee Anderson question. For some reason, we haven't got Lee Anderson in that clip. So Lee Anderson, what he said was, you've got solar panels all over the country. And by the way, I was on vacation last week and I drove down to Cornwall from London, 6-hour journey. How can I forget? But my God, the amount of solar panel farms or whatever you call them, they're vandalising this country. Completely, and the wind turbines in Cornwall. I remember being shocked by the number of wind turbines there 10 years ago. You know, these things are not things of beauty. And yet, on the altar of net zero, we're basically desecrating our countryside. There's so much of this going on. You know, the scale of what is being planned in the name of net zero and the devastation that it's going to cause. It's basically pitting conservation, which I think the vast majority of British people want to see. We want to preserve the beautiful parts of our country against net zero. For the sake of net zero, we're just going to have horrible fields of plastic. Yes, and crazy Ed Miliband's policies, they're incoherent. They don't make any scientific sense. When he tries to explain his policies, it's one of three things. You know, he's either lying or he genuinely believes what he's saying, in which case he needs help, or he's insane. Or probably more to the point, all three. He's definitely insane, there's no doubt about that. No sane man, no sane person could believe the claptrap he comes out with. Now let's talk about what's happened in the last few days, because you know Keir Starmer, I don't think he's the world's the sharpest pin in the pack, but even he knows this is becoming a serious problem for Labour. We have the highest energy prices in the world, 5 times higher than America, partly because we refuse to frack. Why? Well, Ed Miliband literally had potential fracking sites concreted over. I know. What kind of deranged person does that? So, and I think that, as you say, this is getting very serious for Labour. It's taken a lot longer than one might have thought for the average voter to get engaged with this debate, but actually they now see the insanity of it, and they see, I think a lot of people see, that their bills aren't coming down as Labour promised, their bills are just going up. I'm increasingly getting the sense that Ed Miliband may become the fall guy for the outcome of elections. I agree. I think he'll be shuffled out of this job pretty sharpish. Pretty quickly. I think the bell is tolling for him, but let's just go through why the skids are under him. The last couple of days, 2 days ago, Tony Blair said this net zero project is doomed to failure, mainly because everyone in Britain knows that we only produce less than 1% of the world's carbon emissions, so anything we do won't make any difference. And yet Ed Miliband expects us to reduce our lives, use less electricity, don't go on holiday, don't drive cars, not because it will make any difference to to the world's environment, but because it will send a message to Xi Jinping in China, because he produces 28% of the world's pollution, and indeed the other big pollution producers like India, Russia, America still, as if Xi Jinping over in, do you know what I said last night? I said Xi Jinping in Peking. I was in big trouble there. Ooh, I misgendered Beijing. Anyway, old Xi Jinping over in...
You just wanted to rhyme.
Yeah,
you were just trying to make a rhyme.
Anyway, I don't like Peking, Xi Jinping, so I'm going to call it Peking from now on, I think. I never liked that Kiev stuff either. Why can't we call it Kiev? Anyway, Ed Milliband sort of thinks that old Xi Jinping over in Beijing would be asleep, and I go, I can't get to sleep. I'm so worried because, you know, Britain is doing so much, we're doing so little. He thinks it's all about virtue signalling and sending a message to the world that we're the world leaders, as if it's going to make any difference. It won't make any difference at all. So Tony Blair, he's whatever he said yesterday, he kind of backtracked a bit yesterday. He's on the bandwagon trying to get rid of Milliband, trying to get rid of this nonsense, because I don't particularly like Blair, but he's not a stupid man, and he knows this is trouble for Labour. Also, the Unite, Labour's biggest union donor, they have warned now that Milliband's net zero lunacy will become a millstone for the government. As I said, already has become. It's a pair of concrete boots around the sinking cabinet's ankles. Meanwhile, the GMB union dismisses Starmer and Miliband's energy policies as bonkers. General Secretary Gary Smith says that ending investment in North Sea oil and gas was absolute madness. And so on and so forth. There is a head of steam building up against this guy, isn't there?
I'm so glad there is a head of steam. I mean, you know, some of us have been plugging away on this, and I know you have, for a very long time, to, you know, getting very little traction for it. And it just because actually for a long time just the whole net zero thing just sounded pretty boring. Anyone who questioned it was basically smeared as a climate change denier, a dinosaur, all the usual stuff. I'm surprised that they weren't also smeared as far-right thugs. You know, you might as well chuck it all in the mix. And it's only now, and thank you to Tony Blair for actually injecting some common sense into this debate. I think that was a real watershed moment, actually, to have that coming from Blair. He knew exactly what he was doing.
He did. And he kind of rescinded it to an extent 10 minutes before PMQs, Prime Minister's question time yesterday. And that's number 10 Downing Street saying, oh, you can't send Keir into PMQs with this ringing in his ears. So he sort of said, oh, I'm still right behind the net zero project. But don't worry about what Tony Blair said yesterday. It's what he said the day before, that, as you rightly say, Isabel, still counts. That's what he believes. And this guy's going to have to go. He has to go. He is destroying our industry. He's destroying our economy. He is making people poorer and colder.
And ruining our countryside.
And also, you know, when they go about, more and more windmills, well, I'm a bit of an animal lover. These are bird blenders, they're bat blenders. The number of birds they kill is phenomenal. And you talked about these windmills. Have you read about the ones they're proposing to stick in the Channel off the coast of Brighton and Bognor Regis?
Yes,
the size of Eiffel Tower. The size of the Eiffel Tower.
And the various pylons that are needed, and the way they scorch the earth. The environmental impact of some of this is completely underexplored and underemphasised in all of it.
So I think that Ed Milliband should, if he's got any sense at all, which of course he doesn't, he should start looking for another job, perhaps one, you know, in which the key phrase would be, would you like fries with that? I mean, the guy, he's got to go, hasn't he?
He's got to go. And, you know, it's worth remembering that the UK is not a huge country. You know, yes, other countries, maybe they've got vast deserts that they can put solar panels on. We don't have vast tracts of land in which we can put this stuff. I mean, you know, yes, a little bit up in the western, you know, up in Caithness or something, very remote area. But we are quite a small island.
Big trouble. Listen, Isabel, fantastic work this week. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show.